It was March of last year that Super Troops were added to Clash of Clans, but which new Super Troops and what expansions of this area of the game can we expect in 2021? That is what I want to discuss in this video. Welcome back to the channel then, guys. I'm your host, Judo Sloth. Yes, it has pretty much been an entire year since the introduction of Super Troops. We first had 4, and this has increased to 11. But in recent months, the Clash of Clans team have given us snippets of information as to how they want to expand Super Troops, which new ones we are likely to see, and I also asked you, my YouTube subscribers, which troops you wanted to see, so I will be sure to share the highest rated ones at the end of the video. Now first, the team have said that they do not see Super Troops as major content updates. We know that they aim to have 4 updates per year, a spring update, summer, autumn, and winter. But Super Troops would not be the main content. They might be included within updates, but there would be something else. And we do know that this year, one of those updates is going to be Town Hall 14. I do not want to digress in this video, I want to keep it specific for Super Troops, but you know that I interviewed Darian on the channel recently, who gave us a lot of update insights for this year, so I'll link you to that video at the end of this one. But in relation to Super Troops alongside updates, this is what Darian said previously, and I want to make clear that whilst I am giving you information that the team have said, this can change. So I am purely sharing information that we were told previously, but the team do and often will change their mind. But Darian did say that prior to an update, they will think about, can we bring a Super Troop with this update? Does it make sense? So I'm not saying we could expect Super Troops with every single update. I do think that last year, we seen changes to Super Troops throughout all of the updates. I personally do not think that will be the case in 2021, particularly whenever we do get Town Hall 14. I would be highly surprised if they were to bring new Super Troops with that. I think the Town Hall 14 update would purely be Town Hall 14, but who knows, I could be wrong. With that said though, the Super Archer was just secretly added to the game. I woke up one morning and it was there, in the game. I personally like this for little additions. I think it keeps things fresh. But for major content updates, I feel sneak peeks offer a good value to the community in the sense that you can have an understanding of what is coming and you can hit the ground running when it is released. But for something little like a Super Troop, I think it's really cool to just throw it into the game. However, when Darian was asked about this, he didn't really give an answer whether this release method would be used in the future, because he was asked about the next release, and at that time, he was referencing the Super Wizard and the Ice Hound. So what he said is that the next releases would not happen in this manner. He didn't actually give an answer as to whether we could expect secret releases in the future. I hope that we do, but I guess it depends on what the team feel the community's perception was on this type of release. You can let me know your thoughts in the comments alongside anything else about this video, perhaps Super Troops that you would like to see. But what I would say is that for the events, we have seen challenges. Oh, what is that? Construction reduction. Ooh, is that similar to the Hammer Jam? If anybody doesn't know the Hammer Jam event, it was basically before Town Hall 13. They reduced all buildings in cost and time, I believe it was cost and time, by 50%. That's how the construction reduction seems to me. I've just noticed that perhaps this is a hint that we will get the Hammer Jam back. I guess we can hope that it is on that one as well, but why I came to the events tab is that we have seen challenges released in this manner as well. The Winter Challenge, the Hog Mountain Challenge, just added to the game, no sneak peek for it, so maybe for little things, such as a single Super Troop release, we could see this in the future. Here's hoping, because I quite like it. In terms of expansion of Super Troops then, what else could we expect? Now I want to tell you exactly what the team have said in previous interviews. Super Spells. could we expect this in the future? The team have discussed this, and it was actually 6 months ago that we first heard about super spells. It was in this update video where I discussed what was happening at that time, but the team had considered expanding into spells. That would be really cool, right? Bringing super versions of anything and everything in the game. But since then, we have had interviews from Darian where this was asked. And in one of those interviews, which was actually a Reddit AMA, I dug out the answer and I have it flashed on your screen right now. What he said is that spells are meant to be practical. They are meant to help with your attack. So they don't really see the need to change them up at the moment. That doesn't mean to say it's ruled out, but I definitely wouldn't be expecting this at least anytime soon. Super spells could be pretty cool, but what about super defenses? Some defenses, such as archer towers and cannons, have up to 7 or 8 of the same type of defense around your village. Now, the team have discussed previously, it was again in that video 6 months ago, where they thought about fusing defenses together. So let's say, for argument's sake, you could take these 5 archer towers, fuse them together, and make a super archer tower. Later down the line, in the Reddit AMA I referenced, Darian clarified that they actually experimented with this idea prior to the release of Town Hall 13, but they didn't go for it, for the main reason that fusing defenses together would have an impact on the percentage point you are given during an attack. In other words, would fusing the defenses together mean that one building is now worth 5 or 6 times the percentage points because you've fused 5 or 6 cannons in to make that one defense? It got just a little bit complicated. Again though, this idea was not completely ruled out, and one of the reasons it is not ruled out is that there are a ton of buildings on your Clash of Clans base, particularly when you get to Town Hall 13. Now, what happens when we get over 100 buildings? Therefore, you have the opposite difficulty in that every building might not be worth a percentage point. Therefore, my understanding from these interviews is that the team have this written down as a potential solution once they get to 100 buildings or above 100 buildings. We know Town Hall 14 is coming this year. They will no doubt be adding a signature defense, potentially new buildings. Eventually, the time will come when there are more than 100 buildings. They have said they do not want to continue just expanding the map. They have done that in the past. Expanded the map, gave us more tile space, but that has a knock-on effect. For example, when you look at your base, you are zoomed further and further out. You therefore have to zoom further in and do extra things, and that's just problems that I can foresee. Maybe the team have other issues with expanding the base, that's why they don't want to do it. But fusing defenses, making a super defense, is something we could see in the future, particularly if we get to the 100 building range. That is a lot of stuff that we know just on the expansion of the super feature, but what about the troops themselves? What information do we have on potential new super troops, and when could we expect them? So in that most recent interview I had with Darian, like I said, I will link you across to that video at the end of this one because we talked about a lot of other stuff, Town Hall 14, other updates we could see, not just super troops, and we got a ton of information. I'll quickly summarize the super troop part because what he said is it allows the team to add troops at a much higher frequency than adding a brand new troop. I mean, just think about it. We got 11 new troops in the last year. Well, 12, I guess, if you count the Headhunter, which was an actual troop. But basically, they can add super troops at a much higher rate than a regular troop because they don't have to worry about breaking the game as much. they can balance them a lot easier because they are existing troops that they are just adding special abilities to. He did say that they are looking to bring a few of them this year, so who knows how big the roster will get. They have been play testing a couple of super troops. It really just comes down to how fun they feel they are and if they are going to add value. And he also said that they probably will not get all of the way through the troop roster, although they plan to bring a super version of every single troop. They might not get through the troop roster before they go back through troops. So the example he gave was the Headhunter. It's just too new of a troop in order to bring a super version. But let's say the Super Barbarian, he's been around since the start of Clash of Clans, while the regular Barbarian has, so they might bring a second Super Barbarian before they get around to adding the Headhunter. And they will have multiple versions of super troops. That is their plan, which is pretty awesome if you ask me. And what I would say is that I am sure we will see adjustments to the entire system as we move along. I think now that we do not have a 1 week cooldown, it makes it much easier to be able to rotate the troops, particularly since they're only 3 days now as well. So I'm not sure that we would see the ability to boost more than 2 super troops at a time. They probably then start running the risk of breaking the game, because then they might as well just add it as a regular troop if you could boost up as many super troops as you want. So I think the fact that we no longer have the 1 week cooldown and it's only 3 days, we probably will still see 2 super troops being boosted at a time rather than more than that. Plus the fact that how much Dark Elixir will we have to spare when it's 25,000 per super troop? But I wouldn't be surprised if, as super troops develop, they continue to change how it operates, because that's exactly what they've done this year. They've responded to the community, and I take my hat off to the team for doing so. Also, within the interview I had with Darian, we didn't really get many hints as to which super troops would be coming next, but I did catch him out on this one.
I love spoiling stuff.
I thought that was Ano's job.
His are
accidental.
He did one slip, and then the mega golem thing was like his intention to kind of throw the community off as a troll answer. There is no mega golem.
Confirmed.
Touche.
So unless he was triple bluffing and really played his poker face well, I don't think we can expect the Super Golem next. But who remembers the Party King trailer? I do want to bring this up because it is going to nicely link across to what super troops were requested by my community. But within the Party King trailer, we've seen this image, which at that time we all thought was an indication that the Super Archer was coming. And lo and behold, a couple of weeks later, we had the introduction of the Super Archer. But in the Party King trailer, we also had this image, which appeared to show the Super Troop logo tattooed over the Hog Rider's eye, but we have yet to see the Super Hog Rider. Now, you may have seen my good friend Beaker recently released a video on what he would like to see from his Super Hoggo gang if the Hog Rider did have a super version. Let me know if you did see that. Hashtag Beaker and Lulu and Melly down in the comments. I love that he has to extend his intro now. He talked about a couple of things, but the one that I really liked, yeah, it might be overpowered. Think about the Super Valkyrie. When she goes down, she drops a rage spell. But for Hog Riders, you don't really need a rage spell. What you need is a heal spell. So imagine if when one Hog Rider went down, it dropped a heal spell for the rest of your hogs. That would be pretty awesome. Like I said, probably overpowered. But the reason I wanted to discuss this is the Super Hog Rider was the main suggestion by my subscribers. Also, I want to point out, you might have noticed I am in the Silver League. There's a perfectly good explanation for this, which you will find out in a couple of days. I have a really cool video coming out, but I actually have another video coming out before that. We've got some cool videos this week, guys, so be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you do not miss out on any of them. But let's discuss the troops that you, my subscribers, wanted to see as super versions, and the top of the list was the Super Hog Rider. The Hog Rider actually had a bunch of suggestions, and all of them were right at the top. So clearly, it's telling me that the community wants a Super Hog Rider. I do too, by the way. I think it would be awesome. But this was the most liked comment, and I really like this actually, whereby when the Hog Rider goes down, the rider would pop off. So very similar to the golem, how it breaks into multiple golems, I guess. The rider would pop off and do a little bit extra damage afterwards. There were other suggestions for the Hog Rider, but that one was the most popular. Whilst, as I said, it doesn't seem like the Super Golem is coming anytime soon, I really like this suggestion of the Fire Golem, and it was the second most popular on my YouTube community tab. It essentially means that when the Golem goes down, there would be a fireball around it, which would continue to do damage to defenses. So you could think of this similar to the lava launcher on the builder base. It's actually something that Beaker was talking about in his Super Hog Rider video. I think that's really cool. I would love to see that fire golem. Also, which was pretty popular, was the Super Bowler. And I've got to be honest, I quite like this idea as well, taking inspiration from the scatter shot so that when the boulder was bounced, it would do splash damage and just have a similar effect from the scatter shot. I'm not sure what it would be called, maybe just the Super Bowler original, I know. But somebody also sent me this image on Twitter showing a fire bowler. Now, whilst I don't necessarily agree with the special ability, you could merge the idea that we just had from the Super Golem to the bowler. So actually the bowler's boulder would be a flaming boulder, and it would do the damage similar to the lava launcher. I actually like this idea as well, and I think no matter which super troop it is added to, it would be really cool to have some sort of flaming effect for one of the troops. This next one also brings me on to two little points that I forgot to mention through the video. So if you are still watching, congratulations, you get to see the two little bonus points. But we had a suggestion for the Super Miner, which would potentially heal itself underground. I quite like that concept. Or the Super Healer. Now, there was a little bit of a discussion on this one as to what the Super Healer would do, but I really like having a troop which is currently an air troop and having a super version which is a ground troop. So currently the healer is an air troop and it heals ground troops. But what happens if we had a ground healer that could heal air troops? I think that would be awesome. And that is one of the points that I forgot to mention. It was asked in the Reddit AMA that I referenced earlier, would the team consider taking a ground troop and making it an air troop for the super version, or vice versa? The answer was that they'd never really thought of it, to be honest, but they certainly weren't against it. I love that idea. The other little point I forgot to mention was in relation to the special ability. This is what makes a super troop super. Now, whilst some of the troops have a direct copy of the ability in the builder base, the team have said they do not want to continue just doing this. So if they were to bring troops that are currently in the builder base, let's say the Super P.E.K.K.A., it might not just be a direct copy of the special ability in the builder base. I think that's wise. Whilst some of the troops it makes sense, they shouldn't just make it a given that that is going to be the special ability. But if you do want to see the update video I did with Darian, I have it linked here. Subscribe button is also there. You guys take care, and I will see you in the next video.